It's time. WizPro Imagineering proudly presents Two Big Guys on Cars. Now, here are your hosts, Thomas Hill and Denver Wright. What's new in the world of cars? You're about to find out. This is Car News on Two Big Guys on Cars.
This episode of Car News is brought to you by the Just Stop Brake Company, because brakes are for quitters.
On December 22nd, a truck pulling a car trailer flipped onto its side on I-75 in downtown Detroit. Now, this is interesting to us because the cars on the trailer appear to be a pair of 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500s. One was in iconic silver and one was in grabber lime, presumably on their way to their lucky owners for the first time. And this was reported by Fox 2 of Detroit and also Haggerty. The news site said that all northbound lanes were closed while the cars were rescued and no injuries were reported. And that's a good thing. Now, here's the good part. The Detroit Free Press reported on the 23rd on Ford's denial that one of the two new cars were bound for a very special Ford family member. The website The Drive had reported that the grabber lime GT500 was going to a close family member of Martha Ford, presumably a great-grandchild of Henry Ford himself. Now, Martha is the Ford who owns the Detroit Lions and is the widow of William Clay Ford, the founder's grandson, as the Detroit Free Press noted.
You know what's interesting about that right there?
What's that?
Is the fact that they came to rescue the cars like they came to rescue people.
Oh, absolutely.
Flipped over.
Yes.
Look at the analogy. Flipped
Right.
over.
Yeah.
They come, rescue the cars. Traffic is backed up.
Yes.
People treating them. Okay. I'm going to leave that alone.
Okay, you do
I'll
that.
leave that alone.
This episode of Car News is brought to you by So Dark Window Tinting. You won't be able to see it to believe it.
Speaking of Ford's 2020 Shelby GT500, we've already heard that it's quick, new, and attention-getting, and two big guys will be testing it soon to tell you just how quick. But in the meantime, YouTuber Speed Phenom posted a video claiming that his GT500 is the first customer car on a drag strip. He blasted through the quarter mile in 10.66 seconds at 132 miles per hour. From the video, we can tell that this was the first time the Speed Phenom had driven on a drag strip because he has the drag strip staff there to answer his questions and concerns. He asked his co-pilot at one point, "Did I let off too early? Do you think?" The 2020 Shelby GT500 is powered by a supercharged 5.2-liter V8 that pumps out 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. Ford has claimed a 0 to 60 mile an hour time of 3.3 seconds and a quarter mile time of 10.7 seconds. To achieve his fastest time, which took what seemed like an entire day, Speed Phenom had near perfect conditions. He had the launch control system maxed out to 3,200 RPM at launch, used the GT500's line lock feature, had the rear tires set at 24 PSI, the drag strip staff is shown explaining to him how this works, and he had a well-prepared surface. At least he admits that he is the biggest amateur we could imagine. Let's check out his run.
Oh my gosh. That was fastest. Oh my god, it's been way faster this time.
This episode of Car News is brought to you by Please Lord Get Me Up This Hill transmission, because prayer really does work.
Moving on to the European car scene, if you are one of the 106 customers who ordered a McLaren Speedtail, we have good news for you. They've been testing, yeah, sure, you got one. Got one coming, buddy. They've been testing it, and it has reached 250 miles an hour during its test run more than 30 times. Now, because of the final high-speed run, hand-built production of the first 106 customer cars has been given the green light. The testing took place on the Space Shuttle landing runway at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The run concluded the Speedtail's high-speed test runs and were carried out at test facilities around the world. Now, because of this high-speed run, handled by McLaren's test driver Kenny Brack, the hand-built production of the first 106 customer cars has been given the green light, as we said. The Speedtail uses McLaren's twin-turbo 4-liter V8 paired with electric motors that produce together 1,035 horsepower and 848 pound-feet of torque. Now, it completes the British supercar maker's Ultimate Series for now, although more hybrids are in the work. McLaren CEO Mike Flewitt told Car and Driver in an interview earlier this month that the company is planning an all-wheel drive hybrid that could launch 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. That's some speed for you there, okay?
Yes, yes.
McLaren also says that the Speedtail is its most aerodynamic car to date, and that's thanks to its teardrop shape and elongated tail, which ultimately makes the car 17 feet long. The hybrid hypercar, which McLaren says weighs only 3,153 pounds, has a velocity mode that reduces the car's height by 1.4 inches, ultimately helping the three-seater reach its 250 mile an hour top speed. The Speedtail is now being hand-built at McLaren's factory in Woking, England. And McLaren says deliveries of the car, to be priced at $2.1 million, will begin in February of 2020. So yours is on the way, I guess.
I guess.
Okay, well, if you've been waiting for your Speedtail to be built, now it's a step closer. More importantly, you can rest assured that it will get you down the road very quickly indeed.
You know what I like about those cars? Those cars, the way they're built with the fiber tubs, and not only that, but they're light, they're fast,
Yes.
they're quick, and they're beautiful.
Yes.
All the right combinations.
That's right.
Beautiful, fast, and, well, okay. I'll save that for
They're
another
also
one.
comfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
This episode of Car News is brought to you by Impressionistic Art Car and Tire, because you can do it with 3, but it's not such a good idea.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has confirmed it is talking with General Motors about the automaker's plan to deploy a small fleet of zero-emission autonomous vehicles that are unlike anything else on the road today. That's because the vehicles in question would not have a steering wheel. In more technical terms, GM's petition to the administration requests permission to test these cars without a human driver and without human driver controls. The petition says that the limited number of these units, capped at 2,500 deployed per year, are meant to advance safety and low-emission technology and are designed to be fully self-driving for all trips. The cars would be built on the same architecture as the Chevrolet Bolt EV. GM's 100-page petition was not subtle in explaining how a vehicle driven entirely by a computer will be a benefit to the public. Because the human error or behavior leads to 94% of vehicle crashes, technology that eliminates the human driver has the potential to save tens of thousands of lives and to avoid or mitigate hundreds of thousands of vehicle crashes every year in the United States alone, the company wrote. Every day in the United States, more than 100 lives are lost in car crashes. Every day of delay is getting autonomous vehicles safely on American roads is a day in which we are losing lives that could be saved. Also, by exposing people to zero-emission vehicle through this program, GM says the cars will foster wider acceptance of electric vehicles, according to the petition. The ride-sharing fleet would operate in an urban area and users would interact with it through their phones, GM said.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. I don't know if I could get in a car with no driver and no driver controls. I mean, if the computer failed, I'd like at least the option to reach over and grab the steering wheel or hit the brake or something, but this one has none of that.
No, absolutely not. And the scary part about it is that we are such control freaks by human nature.
Yes.
It's going to be difficult for us to relinquish that control to a computer, but what can we say? We've relinquished everything else to a computer.
That's true. That's true. We've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
Ford made the announcement that the Bronco is coming back, and they made that announcement back in January 2017. Now, it'll finally arrive sometime in 2020, but even though the Blue Oval has been relatively mum on the details regarding this exciting new model, we've gotten a clearer picture of just what the rugged SUV is going to look like and what it's going to be over the past few years, thanks to rumors, illustrations, parts guides, and various other reports about reviving the Bronco. So here's everything we know so far. It'll be available with 2 or 4 removable doors and a removable roof that sets it up to compete with rugged rivals such as the Jeep Wrangler. This tidbit of information about the Bronco's powertrain came from Canadian Tire Parts database, which shows a dual overhead cam 2.3-liter inline 4-cylinder engine available for the 2021 Ford Bronco. Now, we took this to mean that the Bronco will be sharing its engine with the Ford Ranger pickup truck, which uses a turbocharged 2.3-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder with 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. A 10-speed automatic transmission is likely to be the Bronco's gearbox of note, but some rumors have suggested that it may also offer a manual transmission as well. And that'll be welcomed by some of the purists. The Bronco will be a truck-based body-on-frame SUV, and its underpinnings will be shared with the next generation Ford Ranger mid-size pickup truck. Now, we also know from Ford's teaser photo that the Bronco will have this boxy profile with a rear-mounted spare tire in the grand tradition of off-road SUVs. Ford says that it will offer hybrid powertrains for most models in its lineup, and the Bronco will be one of them. Now, we're not sure at this point what configuration the gas-electric Bronco's powertrain will take, be it a conventional hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Now, Ford has talked about the possibility of an onboard generator system for the F-150 hybrid, and that system could be shared with the Bronco.
What's interesting about Ford, GM, and so many other cars, and you and I talked about this briefly, they're bringing back a lot of those cars. Many years ago it was the Camaro, then the Mustang.
Yes.
Ford has saw fit to bring back the Bronco, wanted to get back into that mix with the SUVs.
Yes.
It was one of the very pure SUVs back in the day.
That's right.
Everybody wanted a Ford Bronco. It was rough, tough, Ford built, all that kind of a thing. But it's interesting and it's going to be very exciting to see what the new Ford Bronco looks like. And
I'll tell you what, though, I think that Ford kind of did it right and Chevy kind of did it the opposite way. If you remember last episode, we did a story on the Blazer.
Right.
And instead of, back in the day, the Blazer was the direct competition to the Ford Bronco. They were both rough and tough and versatile. You could take doors off and roofs off and configure them differently and had different styles and all of that within the main frame of the body. But the Blazer has come back and it's not that. So does Chevy have a vehicle that will compete with this new Bronco? I don't see it yet. So maybe it's coming in the form of something else, but they did not do it with the Blazer. I know that much.
Yeah, and it looks like Ford is playing poker with GM. They're calling
They
them their
always
bluff. Yeah, they're calling their bluffs, to see exactly what they would put out first. And now maybe they'll surprise us with something pretty special with this Ford Bronco.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll tell you what, that concludes this edition of Car News from Two Big Guys on Cars. And it's brought to you by John.
This episode of Car News is brought to you by Real Hot Heating and Air. Don't ask where it came from, just be glad it works.
We'll be right back with Two Big Guys on Cars.
We've been telling you since we started the show about the Two Big Guys on Cars Camaro. Well, it's changed a little bit. You may have seen it on the website, you may have seen it on our social media, but take a look at this. We told you it was gonna be something special, and the journey has started. We want you to be a part of that journey. How, you may say? Well, we plan on doing a lot of different things to the Two Big Guys on Cars Camaro. We're going to upgrade its performance, upgrade its looks, change it up a lot, and we want you to give us your opinion on what we should do from week to week. So every single week on the show, you can go to our website, twobigguys.com. That's the number 2, bigguys.com. And you can cast your vote on which wheels we're going to get, on if we get a Whipple supercharger or an Edelbrock brakes, because we're going to improve the brakes, because what we want it to be is not this monster muscle thing, but we definitely want it to be a high performance car that's still very streetable. And again, we want you to help us. Now, here's the part 2 where you can win stuff. Anytime you see the Two Big Guys on Cars Camaro in the streets, just wave us down, pull us over, and we'll give you a free t-shirt. One of our Two Big Guys on Cars white t-shirts like this one. You've seen us wear them, and now you can buy them on our website, but you can also get one for free. The Two Big Guys on Cars Camaro journey has begun, and you are a part of it. Thank you so much. It's just our way of saying thanks to you, our viewers, without whom we would be nothing.
I'm Thomas Hill from Two Big Guys on Cars, and I have a special message I want to share with you from Scott and Dave Lloyd.
If you'd like to join us at Racing for ALS on track, be there at Virginia International Raceway on June 8th, 2020. We're having an open track advanced level driver HPDE along with parade laps for anyone in their street cars who would like to join us. We're gonna have fast cars, NASCAR drivers on site, and a wonderful time. All of the proceeds go to ALS TDI, a 501c3, and you'd be donating to an extraordinary cause while having an excellent day at the track. For more information, join us on Facebook or Instagram at Racing for ALS. That's Racing FORALS. Hope to see you there.
Two Big Guys on Cars will be there, and so should you. When I was a child, the car I dreamed about having was what I considered the ultimate sports car, a Porsche. I was attracted to the look, its speed, and its uniqueness. In 1995, I had the chance to acquire what I considered a one-of-a-kind car. What did I get? A 1987 Porsche 944 Turbo, a front-engine rear-wheel drive mid-level model based on the 924 platform. The 944 was available in coupe or cabriolet body styles with either naturally aspirated or turbocharged engines. Initially, the Porsche company offered motor vehicle development work and consulting, but did not build any cars under its own name. Ferdinand Porsche founded the company called Dr. Ing HCF Porsche GmbH in 1931. One of the first assignments the new company received was from the German government to design a car for the people. That is, a Volkswagen. During World War II, Volkswagen production turned to a military version of the Volkswagen Beetle, the Kubelwagen. 52,000 produced, and Schimmelwagen 15,584 produced. Porsche produced several designs for heavy tanks during the war, losing out to Henschel and Son in both contracts that ultimately led to the Tiger I and the Tiger II. However, not all of this work was wasted, as the chassis Porsche designed for the Tiger I was used as the base for the Elephant tank destroyer. Porsche also developed the Maus super heavy tank in the closing stages of the war, producing two prototypes. Ferdinand Porsche's biographer, Fabian Müller, wrote that Porsches had thousands of people forcibly brought to work at their factories during the war. The workers wore the letter P on their clothing at all times. It stood not for Porsche, but for Poland. At the end of World War II, in 1945, the Volkswagen factory at KDF Stade fell to the British. Ferdinand lost his position as chairman of the board of management at Volkswagen, and Ivan Hurst, a British Army major, was put in charge of the factory. In Wolfsburg, the Volkswagen Company magazine dubbed him the British major who saved Volkswagen. The Porsche 64 was developed in 1939 using many components from the Beetle. The Porsche 911, pronounced 911, or in German, Neunelfer, is a two-door, 2+2, high-performance rear-engine sports car made since 1963 by Porsche AG of Stuttgart, Germany. It originally was designated as the Porsche 901. A total of 82 cars were built as badges as 901S. However, French automobile manufacturer Peugeot protested on the grounds that in France it had exclusive rights to car names formed by three numbers with a zero in the middle. Instead of selling the new model with a different name in France, Porsche changed the name to 911. Internally, the car's part numbers carried on the prefix 901 for years. Production began in September of 1964, with the first 911s exported to the US in February of 1965. It has a rear-mounted flat-six engine and all-around independent suspension. It had undergone continuous development, though the basic concept has remained unchanged. In post-war Germany, parts were generally in short supply, so the 356 automobile used components from the Volkswagen Beetle, including the engine case from its internal combustible engine, transmission, and several parts used in the suspension, the 356, however, had several evolutionary stages, A, B, and C, while in production, and most Volkswagen-sourced parts were replaced by Porsche-made parts. Beginning in 1954, the 356's engines started utilizing engine cases designed specifically for the 356. The sleek bodywork was designed by Erwin Komeda, who had also designed the body of the Beetle. Porsche's signature designs have from the beginning featured air-cooled rear engine configurations, rare for other car manufacturers, but producing automobiles that are very well balanced. In 1964, after a fair amount of success in motor racing with various models, including the 550 Spider, and with the 356 needing a major redesign, the company launched the Porsche 911, another air-cooled rear-engine sports car, this time with a six-cylinder boxer engine. The team to lay out the body shell design was led by Ferry Porsche's eldest son, Ferdinand Alexander Porsche. The design phase of the 911 caused internal problems with Erwin Komeda, who led the body design department until then. F.A. Porsche complained Komeda made unauthorized changes to the design. Company leader Ferry Porsche took his son's drawings to neighboring chassis manufacturer Reuter. Reuter's workshop was later acquired by Porsche, after Reuter became a seat manufacturer today known as Kuiper Recaro. The company has always had a close relationship with initially the Volkswagen Marquis, and later the Volkswagen Group, which also owns Audi AG, because the first Volkswagen Beetle was designed by Ferdinand Porsche. The 911 has been modified by private teams and by the factory itself for racing, rallying, and other forms of automotive competition. It is among the most successful competition cars. The naturally aspirated 911 Carrera RSR won major world championship sports car races, such as Targa Florio and 24 Hours of Daytona, even against prototypes. The 911-derived 935 Turbo also won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1979, and Porsche won world championships for make titles in 1976, 77, 78, 79 with the 911-derived models. The two companies, Volkswagen and Porsche, in 1969 made the VW Porsche 914 and 914-6, whereby the 914-6 had a Porsche engine and the 914 had a Volkswagen engine. Further collaboration in 1976 resulted in the Porsche 912e, US only, and the Porsche 924, which used many Audi components. Porsche 944s were also built there, although they used far fewer Volkswagen components. The engines were air-cooled until the introduction of Type 996 in 1998, with the 993 produced from 1994 to 1998 model years, being the last of the air-cooled Porsche sports cars. In the 1999 International Poll to determine the car of the century, the 911 came fifth. It is one of two in the top 5 that have remained continuously in production and was until 1998 a successful surviving application of the air-cooled opposed rear engine layout pioneered by its ancestor, the Porsche 356. It is one of the oldest sports coupe nameplates still in production, with 1 million manufactured as of May of 2017. Now that I'm a grown man, the question is, where is my Porsche 911? Is it a future purchase? Absolutely. Is it my dream car? Yes. The style, the speed, and the look is my dream come true. But it will have to wait because I'm still growing up. And thanks, Porsche AG, for cars that my dreams have been made of. Two Big Guys on Cars needs your support. I'm talking to you, Mr. Businessman, businesswoman. We need your support. In order for Two Big Guys to have the kind of impact that we want it to have for you, for your communities, and for the car community, help us out. Now, it's very easy. All you need to do is just give me a call. And of course, you probably see the number right in front of the call. You know how it is. Or you can call this guy right here, the Wizard. Yeah.
Imagine your business being advertised on television. You may have never thought of advertising on television before. You may have thought that advertising on TV is too expensive. Well, this is your opportunity to get in. Help us out by sponsoring us. We'll help you out by giving you some great production as well as great exposure. We have thousands of people who view our shows every single week on television, and then they also view it on our YouTube channel, on our social media. So this is an opportunity for you to be a part of something that is growing, something that is fun, and something that will get the word out about you, your business, your service, your event.
Undersell and over-deliver.
That's what we do. Thank you so much again from Two Big Guys on Cars.